Let me ask you something. What makes a man powerful? Not just feared, but respected. Not just lucky, but lasting. See, most folks think power is about brute force, loud talking, or flashing wealth. But real power, lasting power, is quiet, deliberate, and built like a damn fortress, one stone at a time. Niccolo Machiavelli, a man who studied kings like we study weather, knew this truth. Power built in haste crumbles in crisis. He wasn't preaching fairy tales. He was telling how the world really works, especially when men want to rule it. In this video, we ain't talking about fame or fortune. We're talking foundations. We'll look at how to build strength that doesn't shake when the wind blows, from avoiding false friends and not feeding your future enemies, to conquering with care, seizing opportunity, and following in the footsteps of giants while still wearing your own damn boots. You ready to see how power is earned, protected, and passed on? Then let's walk the first 5 steps of the path, and remember, if you don't rule your world, someone else will. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Trust built with blood, not bought with coins. Mercenaries and auxiliaries are useless and dangerous. They have no other reason for keeping the field than a trifle of stipend, which is not sufficient to make them willing to die for you. Now listen here, friend. You do not have to rule a Renaissance kingdom to understand this one. What old Niccolo was getting at is just as true today as it was back when princes rode on horseback and trusted too many slippery folks with swords. A man who fights for you only because you're paying him, well, he will turn on you soon as someone else jingles a heavier coin purse. That same principle shows up all around modern life. Take a look at the folks you surround yourself with, your co-workers, your friends, even family sometimes. Are they in your corner because they believe in you, or are they there because it's convenient, profitable, or temporary? See, Machiavelli watched the Italian city-states rise and fall like dominoes, and what he saw, plain as day, was this. When you count on folks who have no skin in your game, they'll let you fall the second things get rough. He warned rulers not to depend on hired swords, mercenaries, or outside help, auxiliaries, because neither gives a damn if you win or lose. They're in it for themselves. Now in today's world, your mercenaries might be business partners who only care about profits, or friends who only show up when it benefits them, or employees who clock in and out but couldn't care less about the mission. You can't build anything strong with that kind of weak foundation. Want loyalty? Grow it. Raise your own troops, like Machiavelli said, but think of that metaphorically. Build teams of people who believe in what you're doing. Find friends who stand by you because they respect you, not because you've got something they want. Teach your kids values that stick even when you're not around. Loyalty built through shared struggle, trust, and vision, that's the only kind that lasts. And here's the part folks miss. Sometimes you gotta walk alone for a stretch before the right folks walk beside you. That's all right. Better to stand alone than to lean on someone who let you fall. Let me tell you a little truth from the trenches. People who show up when things are easy ain't worth much when things get hard. Just like soldiers who fight for gold won't bleed for honor, fair weather companions won't weather any storms. So be wise. Test the people around you. Watch what they do when there's no spotlight, no reward. If someone only shows up when there's something in it for them, you best believe they'll disappear when you really need them. Machiavelli's advice wasn't just about warfare. It was about life, trust, and power. Build your foundation on loyalty, not leases, on conviction, not convenience, on folks who'd fight with you shoulder to shoulder, not just tag along for the glory. Because when the battle comes, and it always does, you'll need more than warm bodies. You'll need hearts that beat for your cause.
Chapter 2. Walk the old roads, but bring your own boots. A prudent man ought always to walk in the paths beaten by great men, and to imitate those who have been most excellent. Niccolo Machiavelli. Now, let me tell you something I wish someone had told me when I was younger, with more hair and less sense. You do not have to invent your life from scratch. A lot of folks run themselves ragged trying to be original, when what they really need is a good compass and a map drawn by the ones who walked before them. Machiavelli was no fool. He studied history like a doctor studies bones, carefully, thoroughly, and with a real sense of what's fatal and what's curable. He believed, and rightly so, that wisdom is found by looking backward. If you want to know how to lead, how to build something that lasts, or how to steer through hard times, look to the greats. Read their stories, learn their strategies, study their character. You ain't got to worship them, but you damn sure ought to learn from them. But, and here's the kicker, Machiavelli wasn't saying you should copy someone's life word for word like a bad recipe. No, sir. What he meant is this: imitate their mindset, their grit, their clarity, not their wardrobe or their politics. Take what's useful from the past, then shape it to fit your own damn life. Abraham Lincoln read the Bible and Shakespeare. Marcus Aurelius read Epictetus. Musashi studied every master swordsman before picking up a brush to write his own code. The common thread? They all walked in someone else's footsteps long enough to find their own stride. Now look around today. People chasing every new trend, switching lanes every week, reinventing themselves every Tuesday like it's going to fix something. It won't. You do not build strength bouncing around like a pinball. You build strength by rooting yourself in something bigger than your ego. Find heroes worth having. Study them. Understand why they stood tall. And then, this part's crucial, adapt. Because your battlefield ain't theirs. Your enemies wear different clothes. Your tools are different. So don't go swinging a sword when the world calls for strategy. That's where wisdom kicks in, knowing when to follow and when to lead. Here's how I see it. Life hands you a toolbox. Some tools are old, hammer, chisel, compass. Others are shiny and new. A wise man doesn't throw the old tools away just because they're not pretty. He keeps what works and knows how and when to use it. That's what Machiavelli meant. Imitate greatness, sure, but don't be a shadow. Be a student. Learn the rules, then learn which ones to bend. And in this world, where people idolize fame over substance and noise over stillness, be the kind of person who draws strength from the past without being stuck in it. Let tradition be your spine, not your cage. Because the truth is, the road to greatness ain't new. It's ancient, dusty, and full of footprints. But if you walk it with open eyes and your own boots, you'll go further than most ever dare.
Chapter 3. Do not hand power to the man who might one day use it against you. Whoever is the cause of another becoming powerful is ruined himself. Let me tell you something plain and simple. If you build a ladder for someone, you'd better make damn sure they are not the type to kick you in the teeth once they reach the top. Machiavelli learned that the hard way, from history, of course, which he treated like a battlefield report. See, when the French came strutting into Italy, they had a choice: either play smart or play short-sighted. They figured they could play kingmaker, take out a few local players, shake up the balance, and put a puppet in charge. That puppet turned out to be Spain, and Spain, being Spain, took the prize, kept it, and left France with its pride tucked between its legs. Now, Machiavelli wasn't talking about medieval politics just to fill pages. He was teaching us a law of human nature, and it's just as true today as it was in 1499. Let me bring this closer to home. Maybe you are in business, maybe you're building a team, a company, a career, and there's this young, charming go-getter you decide to help. You open doors, share your contacts, give them knowledge, and at first it feels good, like mentoring the next generation. But slowly that kid starts climbing a little faster than you expected. One day he's at the same level. A week later, he's above you, and the week after that, he's making decisions that put you in the unemployment line. It happens in families too, in politics, in church boards, even in little social circles. You give someone power without boundaries, thinking it'll make them grateful. Instead, it makes them hungry. Now listen, I ain't saying do not help people. I'm saying be wise. There's a difference between helping someone grow and giving someone the keys to the kingdom. You need to know their character. You need to know their hunger. Some people are thankful. Some are just patient. You see it all over American life today. People prop up movements, influencers, businesses, politicians, thinking they're shaping the future. But they don't ask, what does this person believe? What happens when they no longer need me? Machiavelli's warning is not about paranoia, it's about foresight. Power is like fire, it spreads. Sometimes it spreads right to the edge of your barn, and by the time you notice the smoke, it's too late. So how do you live this lesson? Well, you learn to grow your own strength rather than borrowing someone else's. You form alliances, sure, but not dependencies. You do not build up someone who hasn't shown loyalty. And most importantly, you do not make power cheap. Because when you hand it out without thought, don't be surprised when someone uses it against you. Machiavelli knew the pain of seeing his own country betrayed, carved up like a roast at someone else's table. He wasn't bitter, he was clear-eyed. And clarity like that is gold in a world where everyone's trading favors and chasing applause. So remember, give kindness freely, give power wisely.
Chapter 4. Change just enough and no more. In conquered states, he who becomes master must make few changes. Men will live quietly so long as their old ways of life are undisturbed. Now, let me break it to you slow and straight. People do not mind change until it starts messing with their dinner table, their Sunday routine, or the way their daddy raised them. You march into a new town, new business, new relationship, and the first thing most folks think is, don't screw up what's working for me. Machiavelli saw this truth as clear as a clean window. He watched men win wars, only to lose peace. They'd conquer a city, tear up the old laws, ban the local customs, paint over the history, and then wonder why they got rebellion on their hands before the dust even settled. See, here's the thing. When you step into power, any kind of power, whether it's a company, a community, or even a family you marry into, folks don't mind you taking the reins. What they mind is when you jerk them too hard. They don't want their world flipped upside down. They want to feel like the things that mattered to them still matter. Now, take a look at our own times. Ever seen a new boss come into a company and immediately fire half the staff, rename everything, change the holiday party to a Zoom call, and start issuing memos like a sheriff on speed? That ain't leadership. That's ego in a necktie. Same goes for politics. You win an election, fine. But if you start erasing the local customs, dismantling what folks have built for decades, calling everyone backward just because they ain't like you, well, don't be surprised when they turn on you. Fast. That's why Machiavelli said, make few changes. Take only what you must. Leave the rest. Keep the local language, the old music, the holidays, the neighborhood barbecue. As long as the wheels keep turning and you're the one holding the axle,
There ain't no need to rebuild the whole wagon. And here's the deeper truth. People want security more than they want revolution. They want to know that tomorrow still feels like today, that the rug ain't about to be pulled out from under them. If they feel safe, they'll accept you. Hell, they might even grow to like you. So, how does this look in real life? You take over a family business, keep the name, at least for a while. Respect the traditions, even as you improve the systems. You step into a leadership role, don't start barking orders, learn the lay of the land first. You build trust by honoring what came before you, not bulldozing it. Machiavelli wasn't anti-progress, he just understood timing. You make the changes that matter, but only once people feel like you've earned the right to. And even then, you do it slow, surgical, not swinging a sledgehammer. Because people don't rebel against power, they rebel against humiliation, against being made to feel like their lives, their stories, their ways are worthless. So here's the lesson, and it's worth its weight in gold. Respect the furniture in a house you just moved into. Change the curtains if you must, but you do not dare touch Grandma's rocking chair unless you want a war on your hands.
Chapter 5. Power and opportunity are inseparable. Without opportunity, prowess is wasted. Without prowess, opportunity is lost. Niccolò Machiavelli. Being strong ain't worth a hill of beans if you're standing in the wrong field, and a wide open field ain't worth much either if you ain't got the legs to run. What old Niccolò was trying to say, plain and simple, is this: you need both the fire and the fuel. See, folks get this twisted all the time. You got one group sitting around polishing their skills for years, waiting for some cosmic elevator to carry them up to greatness. And then you got the other group, full of swagger and schemes, leaping at every opportunity that crosses their path without a lick of preparation. Machiavelli saw this play out in war, in politics, and in the rise and fall of men who thought fortune would carry them. But fortune, he said, is like a woman. She favors the bold, but she don't stick around for the unprepared. Let's bring this back to now. In American life, we worship hustle. Motivation posters, success gurus, TED Talks that promise you the moon if you just grind harder. But what they rarely mention is timing, and more than that, capacity. You might hustle your whole life, but if the moment arrives and you ain't ready to act with real power, it'll pass right by like a bus you weren't watching for. And on the flip side, maybe the opportunity does show up. You get the interview, the promotion, the call from someone big. But if all you've done is daydream and you ain't sharpened your tools or trained your mind, then you're going to fumble it bad. Now, Machiavelli wasn't some fortune cookie philosopher. He wasn't hoping for good weather or waiting on fate. He believed in virtù, a kind of disciplined strength, not just talent, but cultivated force. He said that even if opportunity knocks only once, it knocks loud enough for the ready man to hear. And listen close here. This ain't just for kings and CEOs. Let's say you're a single mother trying to build a better life. You study at night, work in the day, and pray for a break. When that scholarship opens up, or that job position frees up, you better be ready. Or maybe you're a young man tired of dead-end jobs. You've been learning a trade on weekends? Then when someone says, "We need a hand," you show up with your sleeves rolled and your skills sharp. Opportunity and power, like peanut butter and jelly. You need both. One without the other just leaves you hungry. So what do you do with this lesson? 1. Build your power daily. Read, train, learn, prepare like the call's coming tomorrow. 2. Watch for the window. Opportunity rarely knocks twice. Be alert. 3. Act decisively. When the two meet, your strength and the open door, walk through without hesitation. You do that, you live ready.
you don't get caught flat-footed. Because in this life, storms don't stop for your excuses, and chances don't wait for your confidence to catch up. So build the power, keep your eyes open, and when the moment comes, step forward like a man who's been expecting it.